Good morning, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll do a lot of open Q&A today and see what people are working on, what they're having challenges building, what the next steps is for everyone, and talk about what I might do. Maybe I'm thinking about hiring somebody here and trading them. I don't know how to set this up. I want to look at an eBay store. I don't know if I will end up getting that person suspended, but I'd like somebody to run an eBay store here so that I can look at it and sort of give them guidance. And this morning, somebody asked me what kind of eBay store I would run if I get my account back. And I think I would run something kind of like Angela's store. I would have 1,000 items in my store. I would list 10, sell 10 a day, try to make $30 profit per item. And that's 6 figures. So I can do 10 listings in 41 minutes. So that's really fast. So I would just have the rest of the day looking for 10 items that make me $30 profit. So I think that's the model that I want to do. So somehow I want someone to do that here. And I don't know, since we're talking about relationship building, what is it that I could be providing that person? Is it they use my space? And they rent from me, maybe, because I can't. I'm assuming if I pay for the inventory, it'll be like their store. I don't want to get them suspended. So somehow, what value could I provide to this person to have the store here so I could look at it? Sorry for the train. Chad is asking, do I prefer one long day of sourcing or 5 to 6 half days of sourcing? I personally do not like driving, so I would prefer one long day. So I don't know if I could find 70 $30 profit items in one day. That's kind of hardcore. That would be very difficult. But I think maybe
That's why I was asking, because you said $30 profit. I was like, dude, that's every day grind.
Let me see. Okay, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do that. And then how I can make it so this person doesn't get suspended. Let me see here. But the 1,000 items, 10 a day, $30 profit per item. We're talking about you can do it in a 10 by 10 spare bedroom. You don't need that much space. I know. How does eBay define owner? So here's the thing. Let's say that somebody set up a company, which is not very difficult. The company is called Not Chris LLC, right? And then let's say I own some of the shares. They wouldn't know that I own some of the shares. They don't know, right? But I just had to go that route. So if Not Chris was headquartered here and they paid I don't know what I mean, obviously I could charge nothing, or they could even pay me to show them how to do it. The key would be, how do I set them up so that they can find 70 $30 profit items per week? That's the hard part, right? The listing, photography, shipping, that part's easy. So essentially what I would do is have them do a route, and I'm actually going to do this for sure. I'm going to write this down. Okay. Worst case scenario. Let's say I pay somebody $1,000 a week to do this. Let's do the math, because people are talking about hiring buyers. This would set a lot of you free. I don't know if $1,000 is enough. Where you guys live, how much would a driver make? Maybe Valerie, you have some good feedback. Like, if we subtract the wear and tear from your car, is there a minimum amount that you need to make in order to justify driving around? You're on mute. What's
okay. Up? In my area,
yep.
My standard is 20 to 30 an hour.
Okay.
That's before deductions, but I'm probably only one of about 10% of the drivers in this area that command that amount.
I see.
My acceptance rating is like 4 out of 100, 4% out of 100 offers that are sent to me. I only take 4 of them.
Why?
Most of the people in my area would work for 10 to 15 an hour.
Oh, so you're only taking ones that make X amount of money?
Oh yeah.
I see. How do you know?
Well, I've been doing it 3 years, number one.
Yeah.
I get catering orders and I do the larger grocery orders.
Okay.
They'll send me the big ones. I mean, I delivered to the Amazon warehouse where I drive for Amazon Flex sometimes.
Yeah.
And it came up as paying me $63. So I
I see.
knew the bigger ones, they usually show the full amount. There's a lot of people that'll take 250 orders in my area. I don't.
Okay. This is very intriguing to me because I'm gonna try this. So worst case scenario, let's say this person that I work with does get suspended, right? They will still have 70 items a week that are $30 profit. That's still fine. We can work with that, right? That's the part that, because we can list it on Poshmark, we can list it on Mercari, we could sell it I could send it to Hannah, right? It's not like that's, it's just, can somebody find that in a week of work? What would that day look like? Is it wake up? For some reason, I think this person would wake up and would wake and bake for some reason. But if you're a professional buyer, maybe you need to be numbed a little bit if you're going to be on the road all day. But I'm just trying to think. They're probably analyzing local deals and then they have their route. I think that's how you would organize it if you're a pro buyer. How do I pay someone to go pick up all these local Facebook? Okay, so I can kind of cheat and say that we can meet here. So we can do local pickup here. Is that reasonable for people in the group to set up? Like Arwen, could you set up local pickup at a certain place, like a coffee shop or something, at the same time every day?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't like the people that I deal with. You mean like if I was to ask someone to just bring me stuff every single day?
At a certain time, let's say between 9 and noon at somewhere.
I mean, sorry. Yes, I can, but I haven't developed that yet, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah. Okay. That's something to consider because can somebody buy full time? I don't know. I think if you were at the bins all day, you could shop for somebody. But I want to build this out. Let's actually try it. I will hire a buyer from scratch to get me $70, $30 profit items a day. So let's talk about that. Ben, for your business, do you do the buying?
Yeah, my husband does, but we do go together. So he spends more time at it. So it's kind of like, if I don't think of him as my husband, as just a buyer, yes, in a sense, yeah, he's like that part of the business. And he does stay in one location often for 8 hours because it's so thorough.
He's the main person.
He is the main person. But I would say, I was thinking of you too, like, why, of course, I know you're very open and shared all this. What if you increase that number, like 35 to 20, and say only buy items that are 20 instead of 10? And so you don't have to get so many in a day. The downsides of that versus the pros.
What kind of stuff does your husband get? And is he full-time looking for stuff?
He's full-time looking for stuff. And we are always looking for the home decor items that are either antique level or vintage, because we're looking for things that generally command $100.
Okay.
And if something gives us 25 or less, we leave it just because the amount of work involved.
So how many $100 items can he find in a week?
In a week, I would say we find, when we go thrifting for those 24 hours, or for the 8-hour days, we find 30 in that day in 8 hours. So if we did it every day,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. We live in a big city, but there's a generational shift. So the grandma stuff is getting donated all the time, but the next generation wants it. the younger generation wants it. The skip, the middle one, we're finding. So that's our tip, I guess, of what we'd share is that motion, that moving through. But the only downside is you have to package with more care, and we have a system and all that. But that's our rule.
Okay, so 30 profit items a day.
Mhm.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, we're incredibly blessed, and it can range from Tiffany pieces to Jim Shore, everyday items, but those are valued at 60, let's say. But we can give them for 5. Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, which is 2 hours from Chicago too. So that whole area. We actually go to Janesville. It's a smaller town that we have found is the place that has this Goodwill that does this. So our local Goodwills are not very good at putting out items. And we do some routes sometimes, but this location, which is 30 minutes from our house, we found all of a sudden to be the place that we can just sit and know cart after cart after cart comes out. So that people mention about not having places, we've had to leave our area sometimes to go find places.
What would your husband charge to work 40 hours a week for me or for you or for some people? Did he leave the workforce to do this?
Yeah, it's his full time.
No, but I'm saying, did he leave a 6-figure job to do this?
No, not 6-figure, but he did leave a job. So we had our personal story is because we got married. He is from Colombia originally. And so we are here. He could have worked in anything, but we thought, let's take this hobby, this passion you have, and see if it can work. And it did. And it caught on to the point that we now created in that official business level. Let's see how far we can push it. And so being a part of this group has been a big inspiration behind that idea of taking a hobby and making it a full-time job. So he have one, can I get it full-time is the next level stuff. So, but how much would he need? At least $40 an hour for him, because he knows what he's looking for. So that his eye is going to know that item's worth this or not, because he's in school. We're in school all the time. Like we're watching videos, we're watching vintage home decor items. What does the market want? We're studying it. So we're continually expanding. When we see something on the cart, grab it. Nobody else is wanting it because it's just not a very common category. And people are over there fighting for clothing, but we don't have to worry about that.
So what is the $40 an hour? Where did that come from?
I'm just estimating the time of his value, the knowledge base of his value. He can spot to produce for someone else.
Okay, so
estimate.
So here's the thing I think is interesting. They say that at 75 grand or 70,000 a year, you should be able to be happy. Maybe you don't have everything that you want, but if you can't live on 75 grand, then you're too fancy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that, because I don't know, is it possible to pay somebody $40 an hour to source for you? Could it be profitable enough that that is worth it? Because that's a significant amount. That's what is that? That's 40 times 40. Oh, I guess it's not as much as I thought. 1,600 a week. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I live in right now, like our fast food places, starting wage for adults is $19 an hour. It's crazy. That's how much they're desperate for employees right now. So I'm factoring that in my brain too. Things have changed so desperately.
Okay. Does anybody else live in a major city? Yeah. Oh, I guess, Chad, you're in Texas. Is any because I've always hired in the $20 to $25 range my whole career of hiring people.
That's great.
But I wonder what happens. What kind of people apply for a $40 an hour job, right? Do I get a person who's worked as a museum and went to school in something that they have some kind of expert knowledge in something, and they can go to Goodwill and pick out all these amazing. My gut feeling is that an ideal person would be over 50, because if you have, that's way more life experience. You've bought many of the things that are valuable new probably in your lifetime. You wouldn't pick somebody fresh out of college because they don't know anything yet. They've never been through a divorce and downsized a 5-bedroom house and now live in a condo. That person knows way more about random things. But if you paid somebody $1,600 a week, how much profit would they have to bring you to make that worth it? Because like, if I was Armin, I would pay somebody $2,000 a week at the Nike outlet. If I just drove there and picked it up and came home, that's worth it. Because you just skip all your sourcing. You just drive with your van, pick up all the shoes and trainers in one shot, and that's worth it. Just get all the shoes in one hit. So if it came to you ready to list, didn't need any prep, maybe you pay somebody $40 an hour. That's
I like that very much, because I know there's a type of people that don't want to do the listing and the shipping, but they enjoy the shopping and discovery. And they love to make that their job, their career, just that part. And so that partnership with somebody is realistic, actually, I think.
okay, so trying to think here if that would justify me driving around in traffic all day. And then what kind of stuff would I have to put in the car? Because like, you'd have to be comfortable. And it also is kind of risky driving around all day. Like, that's how most people under 40 die. I think half of people who die under the age of 40 is from a car accident. Maybe it's higher than that. Let me think here. Because if I was a professional buyer, okay, let's run through all the scenarios, because this is a sourcing call this week. I guess I could sit at Starbucks all day, right? So that's my Starbucks office. It's going to cost $10 a day in maybe $5 a day if you just get black coffee and you're mooch all day, right? And one pastry. So there's your office. And you're just on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace all day saying, yo, come meet me at Starbucks. It's my office. Come by, I'll pay you cash. And it's safe, it's public. They're not going to care about you being there all day. So you can make your office a public meeting place all day long. Tell people, Venmo, don't rob me, Venmo or PayPal only. I'll send you the cash when you get here. And just camp out all day and have people come to you on Facebook Marketplace. Or you could go out hunting all day, but then that gas is really expensive. What is driving around all day cost? How much is gas where you guys live? $7.50 here a gallon. 4. Benya's is Panera, $4.50 in Florida. Wow. $7.50 here. The most expensive gas station is like $7.79 or something here. Think here. Okay. So we could do the camping model where you're online all day looking for deals to come to you. Okay. There's the Road Warrior. There's the bins. So if you were at the bins 8 hours a day, all day, you would definitely find enough stuff. 100%. Somebody wanted to do that. Then the Road Warrior goes to as many thrift stores as possible. Then the camper, this is Craigslist Marketplace, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, maybe online arbitrage all day. Now, I know it would be a lot more effective if you spent all 5 days online on Craigslist all day looking for deals, online arbitrage, or all 5 days Road Warrior hitting every single store, or all 5 days at the bins. It would be impossible. You'd probably find one $500 item if you stayed at the bins all week. You'd find one crazy deal. Ben says your Goodwill is not a bins. Yep, that's great. Because if you can shop Goodwill retail, they've already sorted. So big
That's
time.
my point. Yeah, exactly. I feel like you're working at the bins. It's so much work that you go to the regular Goodwill, like, well, I'm paying a little bit more here, sometimes a lot more, but the work has been done for me and it's nice and organized. I can go look specifically, but I like the bins too. It's just a very different experience.
Okay, so let's see how hard this is going to be. I think I just solved okay, this is going to sound interesting, but I'd like to pay $1 million a year in payroll. I don't know how to do that profitably because I don't want to spend $1 million and lose $1 million. So somehow the people I hire have to make me more money. So if I had the road warrior scares me because they might die. I would feel bad if somebody was driving and they crashed. The person that sits at Starbucks all day and does online arbitrage and has stuff come to them, that person is not that risky. They don't even need a car. They could just sit at Starbucks all day, fill up a couple of duffel bags. It would look a little bit shady, but then I could just go there every day at the end of the day and pick up their lot of stuff. The bin shopper is not as risky as much either because they just drive there, stay there all day, and then leave. And I have that now. I have a bin shopper that uses my credit card, and she charges me $1 per item on top of the item. So if she finds 100 items, she makes $100. She uses my credit card to pay, comes to me the next day using my pirate ship account. I know Hannah could set that up, especially since if you're on the East Coast, even if you don't live near one, there's a bins that's only 50 cents a pound away from you shipping. If you found somebody in one state over, the shipping is very, very, very cheap per item. Yeah, the sitter could also be a drop-off point. Yeah. And the sitter could do it at home if they were comfortable with random people coming to their house all day. Okay, so I guess my dream is for everyone in America that resells to be in the Facebook group. Half of them are people who shop, and the other half are people who just sit at home, list, ship, photograph. That would be the premium. So Ben, your family could have to both people. Well, you stay at home all day, he shops all day. And I have seen some amazing husband-wife teams do that just from experience. No husband yet. I haven't seen that, but I have seen a lot of Amazon FBA, husband or wife shops all day long. The other person stays at home, does accounting, makes the boxes, sends it in the FBA. I've seen that dozens of times. So that's a good delegation of responsibilities. One person shop till you drop, other person keep track of all the money. Oh, and I've even seen husband and wife combo where wife does everything except for drive. The guy just drives her from thrift store to thrift store, maybe does a little prep, maybe he goes to the post office and does shipping, but she does all the buying and all the number crunching. And based on Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, like something like 95% of the businesses that he has invested in that work are female run. So he's almost like, if I just pick only female founders, I just have like a pretty good chance that it's going to work because they're more realistic in their numbers. So I think that's something I would consider. If I put out the ad and someone's like, oh, I can bring you everything, that person probably can't. We'll see how people respond because we'll make the ad together for a buyer. We've got the camping person, the road warrior, and the bins. Your wife supplies the coffee in the morning. That's perfect. I would love to provide coffee for my wife, and that's it. I could sign up for that. But I like this idea. As long as it's worth it, you can hire as many people as possible. So let me Yeah, this is really, I love this concept. Road warrior, bin shopper, the camper. So now we go back to what does the day look like? I think the road warrior, can you guys think of any tips? I probably would bring lunch. You probably need an external battery to charge your phone because you're going to be looking up a lot of stuff in the store. Yeah, external battery. You would need a charger in your car so that you can charge your phone as you're going. Probably have a little holder for your phone in your car so you're not looking down and crashing. You would need a map of all the places you're going to. You would need to observe traffic.
Probably a buy list early on, at least.
A buy list. Yep.
Have a I don't know if everybody everywhere has it, but here we have a Goodwill, like a Goodwill club. That if you have like one of the Goodwill, if you have like a card, you like collect points or whatever, and it ends up being like 10% off everything, and they have certain days where it's 20% off.
Yep. The rewards. Yeah, I always wonder about the email list. They always say you can get 15% off for signing up for our email list one-time deal. So the last time I went to Lululemon, I did that and I spent, I think, 10 grand, and the 15% off was $1,500 less, which was like insane. And I'm starting to wonder about, like, Home Depot had 12% cash back. So we just bought a washer dryer, and combining like the sign up coupon, the 15% off, the cash back, the trick where you go to Lowe's and get a quote and then go back to Home Depot and see if they'll do better. All that combined was like 30% off on one item. So it's like interesting thinking about how to do all that. But then it also like takes 3 months for the cash back to hit, and your credit card, unless Capital One will give you the cash back up front. The other credit card companies wait for it to close and then you get it on the next statement. So it's interesting thinking about all these different ways to be a professional buyer. But I think that is the secret for everyone in here. One professional buyer and you are the processor. You need someone that knows what they're doing. Because yeah.
How do you, because I mean, Chris, I know that you've like hired people in the past. You have, 5 employees now or whatever. How do you not lose money in vetting people? Because if I would imagine that I would have to, because I mean, like everyone I think wants to be a buyer. That's like everybody's dream job, right? Like every stay-at-home mom's dream job. Like I want to be a buyer.
Yeah. Is it
So
though?
I feel like if I put out an ad, I would have like 40 people. Maybe I could narrow it down to like 15. But then like, if I have to vet all those 15 and have each of them do, a couple days of buying for me,
Yeah.
12 of them suck and lose me money.
Yeah.
Do I you just have to like suck it up and it'll be worth it in the end, you think?
I think you need a sample, and then that will narrow it down. So as an example, I want someone to help me write content for YouTube. So I put up an ad and I said, okay, why do people choose? And I gave the sample. I want to make a video on why people choose a more complicated answer than a simple answer. Right? So instead of like listing every day, people wonder like something else. Right? But if we just figure out how to list every day, we'll be fine. So then I put that up as the exercise, and I put write one paragraph on how you would do this. So like 99% of people did not do that. So now I'm just looking for the 8 or 10 people who did do that and reviewing who's the best. So what I would do is give me an example of what your route would look like, right? That's number one, because I think that there are some stay-at-home people that have their honey hole. That might automatically work. If somebody has a shopping problem and they're a failed reseller, that might be perfect. So right now I'm deciding between 100, and you'd probably be a perfect person for this, Hannah, but I'm trying to decide, because okay, I have to look at it to see if it's a value add. So I hired a videographer. The YouTube channel makes in more money than she costs. It improved my videos enough. So it'll be the same thing for the writing. I'm sure that someone that helps me with writing, the video perform a lot better because it would be more titillating, more interesting, and people would stay around longer, and that would result in being able to pay them more. But for the thrifter person, I think the secret is their honey hole. You have to know that's their sample. That's how you don't waste time. If you are working for me 40 hours a week, because full time is way better, then what does your route look like? I think the girl that works for me now, shopping at the bins, her store was awesome. Her eBay store was awesome. So it gave me a good idea that she knew what she was doing. So when she became a buyer from me, I bought her entire store, closed her eBay store. So she doesn't have to list her photograph anymore. That's it. So she does 750 to 1,250 pieces per week at the bins. Easy life for her. But she can't be like, and I trust her. She's not like taking out the home runs. I get all the home runs. All the stuff that's worth over 100, I get that too.
Yeah, I was
But-
gonna say, do you have in your contract that like she can't have an online store?
No, but that's the thing is like you get to look through the mix. So it's pretty easy to cut somebody off. They have to all be keepers to have that kind of a level of. See, that's the thing. You can already hire someone that knows how to do it, or you could train someone, but I don't know if any of us have enough time to train them. You got to already be able to recognize the deal. Chad?
Yeah, could you clarify a little bit and give some context to these three kind of people that we're kind of building out here?
Yeah.
To when the line gets crossed to where you actually hire that person, and from you being that person, and then maybe look at each one as like, kind of this dollar amount is where you would do this, or this is better for someone who isn't going to hire somebody, to kind of give it some growth, some kind of measurables.
I think 90 day is a good, 90 days is a normal trial run, but you can do as low as 30 days, in my opinion, to test somebody out, vet them out. And then over time, the better your test is, like, the better they are at planning their time. This is going to sound weird, but I think that the best sourcer might already have a job or already have income, because since that's been such a good indicator of whether or not people are successful at reselling, maybe somebody who has limited time, like a parent, would be an excellent sourcer because they already have time management skills.
But at what like items per day or 90-day total or ASP or whatever, do you pull the trigger on one or all or some of these?
I don't know if this is possible, but I would like my person to bring me only $30 profit items, and I'm willing to spend 100. So I have to see the receipt. So the sort of issue could be if they pad it. Like, oh, this is $50 at Goodwill. You could sell for 120 and make your 30, but it really was actually 10 at Goodwill. That's the issue, in my opinion. It's not really even that big of an issue because paying 50 for 120 is still fine, but for it to even out, because sometimes they're going to buy an item that breaks or gets returned or some kind of an issue. So you want to make sure that, like, for example, I bought a Prada jacket that ended up being fake, so I lost money. So what happens there? You have to eat it as the business owner. You can't make them eat it, especially if they didn't know it was fake or they did the best they could.
What about having them use your credit card? I thought you suggested that.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay.
I would prefer they use their own money, because then they don't, you have to really trust someone for them to give them a credit card with a certain limit on it, so that you can limit your damage to $5,000 if they go on a shopping spree or something, right? You're not allowed to resell if you work at Goodwill. I know that. You get promoted to customer. If you steal, that's considered stealing. And I've had that with that relationship is really shady, but I've had a relationship before with a manager who says like, if you buy this stuff for me, since I can't buy it, and then put it in my car, then I will give you access to all this stuff. So I have seen that. That person did not last very long. So that was really obvious. The person that I like the most is the camper. The thing is, the camper is usually a good reseller on their own. They can find those deals. The most money I have ever seen any reseller make they're all campers. The people who make the most, the people who, because if you're doing online arbitrage, you will stumble upon a deal where you can make $10,000, $20,000 in one deal. And that doesn't happen a lot as a road warrior or a bin shopper. It's more lower end stuff, but you find stuff every single day at the bins and road warrior. And online arbitrage camping person, they may not find something for a whole week. So do they lose their motivation, or can you afford to float them for a week while they figure it out? And then maybe we set up an online arbitrage call in the group for people who live in an area where they can't go thrifting and they have to buy online. So what does that look like? But you can't really share. REI's got this deal on Arc'teryx jackets and they're 80% off because you share it with 4 people in the group and now they're sold out. So but I think professional buyer, that's how most stores do it. The road warrior, the bins, and the camper. Yeah, the road warrior. That's essentially the company Flip, FLYP. They're doing that. They're saying that most people have only time to resell or buy. And so they're offering people $4 cash up front for any items on their buy list, right? But I really don't want to sell, as a buyer, I don't want to sell Patagonia and North Face for $4, right? That's brutal. That means you have to get it at a garage sale for $1, which is already really hard. The person has to really not care to sell you Patagonia for $1. So that model works because they have millions of people looking, and some people are okay with $4. And then they send those lots to other resellers who don't want to travel. But I think I want to do it on a more professional level where people are full-time shopping and people are full-time selling, and you get connected. Do I know anybody who's been successful with the Alibaba model? Definitely. Like, I think I could easily make those blue light blocking glasses work. So like, you're supposed to wear those goggles and they make you sleep better at night, right? I think that's pretty easy. They're $1.10 on Alibaba. That's not expensive, right? So you can order them. So now you have a good budget. So let's say you charge $60 for the blue light blocking glasses. Now you have a $60, you have a, let's say shipping is $6 with the package, because you need a nice packaging, get to look nice when people get it in order to charge 60. Now what you need to do is figure out how to pay an influencer $30 to plug it, and then they will plug the shit out of it because they make $30 per sale. I know that would work. That's how I would do the Alibaba model. You take something that's already popular, like those glasses, brand it really well, get a really nice box, really nice marketing. You have an eye for design. Then you got to find somebody and connect it. See? But you pay $60 if your fellow.
I paid $60
blogger,
for these.
that's what I mean. That works. It's $1.10 on Alibaba. That would work. But you would need to do all the work. It would take a year or two to get a really good packaging, you know.
So does it just come like everything in a box, like all loose, or like how, like what is that?
However,
So you have
it comes however you want. It could come with interchangeable lenses if you want to go that route. It could come with a metal box, which makes it, that's like $50 already. If it comes in a metal carrying boxes, that's cool. You could say it's anti-crush. You can throw it in your backpack. Every day when I wake up, all I do is grab my keys and my glasses and I go to work. That kind of marketing is easy for an influencer to talk about. I can't live without these because I couldn't go to sleep if I don't wear these. I love checking my email on my bed before going to, all that stuff is a influencer's dream. All those people who want to be famous and make money on Instagram and they get paid $30 a set of goggles, it would be in every post, right? So you need to find something with that kind of a margin, and it's worth $60 to the customer if their favorite influencer has it, because it's cool. But that's not fast money. That's like a real business. Angela?
Okay, so with the camper model, like I'm pretty much a camper. I may not sell like high amounts of stuff, but when I do sell it, it's like $300-400, right?
Yep.
And so with that model though, you're not finding things every day. So what is like a key to keeping your inventory like stocked when you're not finding like that? Like right now it's like 80-20. Like I have 20% of my store is like filler items where it's like maybe $50 or so profit or more, probably between like $50 to $75, and the rest is like about 100 and more. But what is the like key to keeping the good quality inventory stock when you're not finding it as frequent?
Okay, so if we're gonna use the camping model for like shooter games, that's like the sniper model, right? You've got insane range. You can shoot somebody from 1,000 yards away. You're at the top of the tower looking. That's what you're doing as a camper. You're looking for deals where you make a big profit. But it's hard to sustain because there's not that many opportunities, right? So the key to making the camper model work is doing it all day, refreshing all day, looking for deals all day.
Yeah, I do that. But then it makes it hard to do like the business side. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can shop. Like my background like is in fashion management. I have my master's in that. So it's like I can find deals, but it is like tedious. Like I'm up at midnight. Like I know certain spots to go to. So I'm up looking, and you have to literally refresh or somebody will get it, right?
Yep.
But it's like it makes it hard to do the business side of it though. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Also, I think the camper model has the worst mental health because you're on your phone and your computer all day. So like, for example, if I was in the camper model, I would subscribe to every single Bolo group. There are groups that tell you what to buy, right? But when you join that group, that buy is in a really small window. You've got to find it, buy it, and sell it before other people do it, or the market gets flooded, right? So that means you're glued to your phone all day. I saw this husband and wife team, and the husband had like 3 phones, and they were logged into different sites that were like a virtual assistant will give us a deal every 30 minutes. And like he wanted to take a break, and she was like, no, you wait, right? We need to make money. So we're going to be first on every single one of these deals. So you can't have a break. And it was just funny to me because like, can you imagine you've got to be on top of it like that in order, because that's more pressure, income for 2 people. And you got to make sure that flow is open all day versus the bins is like fighting with a knife. You can just go straight into battle and find it. You're going to find stuff in the next hour. You go to the bins, immediately get stuff, but rarely you're going to get that $50-$100 home run like us or more on the sniper model, because those have wider range. So I think the key to the camper model would be help. You would need somebody helping look for you all day.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to scale volume. Yeah, the 1 or 2 or 3 phones, that's like.
Yeah, I've done that. Like literally I've had 2 phones in my laptop too, like, and I'm just trying to like get them like each. So yeah, I've literally done that before. So
yeah, it's funny because in our group, Jack Weaver runs a group. So he has an online Bolo group. And even though he's the owner of the group and sees every single deal, he still makes more money as just buying bulk and then just sorting and then selling it manually, more than the bolos. He makes some money on the bolos, but not as much as the consistent, essentially the bin stuff. Hannah?
Yeah, I was gonna ask because we spent the last couple of days talking about like relationships, getting relationships with people, finding like suppliers that'll just like drop stuff off to you.
Yep.
Or like, so after we had those conversations, I called up like 4 or 5 vintage shops within like a 50-mile radius of me.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I get all this vintage stuff all the time, glassware, clothes, whatever, like super vintage, like 50s, 60s, not like 90s vintage. And you know, I like talked with them and I was like, you know, I'm really interested in vintage bags. Like, would you be interested in like, I give you all my glassware and clothes that I get on a weekly basis and you give me all your purses. And, you know, a few of them were interested. So now that we've talked about both, like having buyers versus having like relationships, suppliers, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Which do you think is better, easier, more profitable? Try them both, have them both at the same time?
The guaranteed model that works is the bins. It's just the most work. Somebody shops for you all day. They will find enough items for you to list. That one person there, you all day. The Road Warrior also works if you have enough stores that you can go to. And then the Sniper Camp model works if somebody's looking all day. Because actually, the camper model, the reason why the people I've met that made the most money in reselling are the camper model is because the range is so wide. You can shop worldwide. And then the bins is just limited to that bins. And then the Road Warrior is just limited to that area. So you just need a really, really wide range as a camper. And I think you go heavy when you can. You go and you go for more expensive items, in my opinion. If you're a camper and if you had a $500 ASP, that weeds out a lot of the competition because people can't spend 300 to make 100. The guy that he used to be on Instagram before he retired. He was spending $250,000 a week to make 16,000 a week. Right? So like that's a lot of that. That's a freaking crap load of output to make, but 16 grand a week was insane. I've only seen a couple people do that kind of volume. His average sale price probably 1,000. He's buying expensive computer gear, all the stuff that was like buy for 1,000, sell for 1,200, buy for 1,200, sell for 1,300. Like really small margins, but then only stuff on Amazon that would sell quickly. And he had only one person helping, and Angela, the person that was helping was doing the accounting and the bookkeeping because it was such a high dollar amount per item and the margins were so small that he needed the line by line to be like, am I really making any money after all this? Plus there was a lot of a headache with managing cash back and because sub 10% margin. If you're sub 10% margin, you got to be really careful. So one full-time person doing the numbers and then he was full-time buying. And at one point he had a Patreon. His Patreon was $1,000 a month. That was the most expensive Patreon I had ever seen. And all it was screen share. You just look at what he's buying all day. That's it. No 10 people, $1,000 each. You just hang out with him all day while he's buying stuff. All day hunting.
Pay $1,000 a month to be a millionaire. Seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. And you would need to, it was a bit restrictive too, because you need to have an account on Amazon. It's in perfect condition. You need to be ungated and everything. So that takes some time to develop that. And then most people were not spending that type of volume. Like most people, even where they were paying $1,000 a month, they were not spending $250,000 a week. That's a lot. You need a huge bankroll to do that. And he also never used his own money. He started with the credit card, paid off the credit card, asked for a credit card limit increase, and did that over and over and over and over and over again. Never used a dime of his own money. It was amazing. So, because you can do that. I did credit card churning for the last couple of years, learning about online arbitrage, and my credit card limit went from 50,000 to 600,000. I don't know what to buy though on that stuff that would turn over fast enough that I wouldn't be scared, because if it doesn't sell, you got to pay the balance. That's I don't want a 6-figure credit card bill, so that scares me now. Chad, what's up?
So with all this talk about like hiring someone to basically source for you.
Yep.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out why I wouldn't just, it's much easier to train someone to take photos and list.
Yep.
And they're not going to try to get over on you. You're the one going outsourcing. You know what you're paying for. So why would we choose that over putting the effort into hiring somebody who's much more easily replaced too? Because if you have your process in place, you can take anybody and be like, hey, take pictures like this, fold it like this, pack it like this, and then you're out doing all the digging or whatever, camping and stuff.
That's much more common. It's just that you make more money in the expert item specific entering, title optimization, item specifics, and pricing is difficult to teach to someone. The photography part's not. The basic listing is not. But pricing it all perfectly, perfect title, that stuff is very difficult. And like earlier in the morning call, let me see if there's a call today. There is. Okay, so we have for those of you that need photography help out there, Mark does a photography call every Thursday or every other Thursday.
It seems like then that even promotes more to niche down, because if you're selling one item, let's just say that's like super niche down, then the title, order, this item specifics never changes, or if it's like, just jeans, then you're like, and you only buy maybe 3 brands, then you're like, when you list Levi's, list them like this. When you list, you might still get some misses on like a few things, if you go like vintage route or whatever, but it seems like to me that this emphasizes the importance of niching down, because then you can hire somebody to do the grunt work, and you can do, if you enjoy shopping, the fun work of going out and finding items and networking, and you're the face of the franchise, so to speak.
It's the same exact thing with sourcing. You can hire someone to do the basics, like, hey, if it's Patagonia and it's $1, buy it. That's easy. It's the like, how do you know? Like Angela has some fashion experience, so she might notice something that's undervalued that a regular person would not. So the expert in any niche, that's where we're talking about paying somebody $40 an hour. I think it's probably higher, probably $50 an hour to really expert do it. And that's like earlier in the morning call today, Sally was asking if somebody would price her items. And originally I thought, oh, that sounds like a good idea. But now I'm thinking that job is worth over $50 an hour. Like if I hired Angela to go into my retail store with her knowledge and reprice everything according to market, not everyone can do that. That's really hard. You need a lot of information and knowledge in order to accurately price stuff. So that's hard. Just like the list, like Hannah was saying, a shitty listing won't sell, but an excellent listing will sell faster. And a regular listing will just sell at a normal pace. So
yeah, I'm not saying it's right or better. I'm just curious. I'm trying to see the benefits of the model you're talking about.
The benefit of having a sourcer and of stuff coming to you is that it's just you've got to figure out how to multiply your time somehow. So the problem with being a full-time camper and a full-time road warrior or a full-time bins, Angela actually nailed it, because you don't have time to work on your business. If you're the full-time sourcer, you run out of time. And you don't get as many results if you're part-time. That's why I'm not interested in the part-time buyer. I want somebody full force looking all day long. That's all they do. And that's probably why these BOLO groups are so easy to build. Because like you get a group of people and then you hire a couple of people that just full-time look for deals. So the group is has this nice flow of good deals, but evaluating whether or not it's a good buy also work, because like in the online arbitrage game, things are so expensive that you need to be an expert. In the thrifting road warrior bids model, you don't have to be an expert because the items are so cheap. Like you're not going to lose money on Gucci for $10. You're probably fine if it's authentic. So it's just the camping is more like being a surgeon. Got to be precise. One wrong mistake and it's not profitable. Amber saying, how would you pay a camper per item? You could pay a camper per item, or you could pay a camper per profit margin. You could pay a camper hourly. Let me start this call real quick.
So it seems like niching down what you're selling, you can also apply that thought process to niching down what you source as well, as far as what you get. Because like it would be, you could pay someone, or you could maybe get it for free, even if you just said, I'll take all your clothes, I don't care what it is, and you get a bunch of garbage and you got to go through it. That's a cheap way to do it. But then as you niche down to I want these specific things, it seems like you need to pay somebody more because it's going to take longer to find those specifics. Is there like a scale for that? Like when to pull the trigger on paying someone to niche source for you? Or is it even profitable to do that, to like just bring me everything? You need to pay them like $100 a day or something just to go to a few thrift stores and pick up their rag bags or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yesterday, after our call, I had a guy call me, then this blew my mind. He sells 3 containers a day of clothing. Each container is 50,000 pounds of clothing. Okay. He makes $1,000 per container. That's 2 cents per clothing item. Right. So I was like, wow, that is the opposite spectrum of Angela. Like he has to sell 20,000 pieces to make like the same amount that she makes in one piece. So he was like, how do I sort out the good stuff, sell this stuff overseas, make my 1K, and then the good stuff, how do I make the money? But it's a totally different model. He has 300 employees. That's what it takes to sort all the junk it's like right before Rag House. So like Goodwill, Salvation Army, bins all filter into this person, and then they do the final sorting. 300 people sort it, and then it goes overseas, and he makes 2 cents an item. That's like the ultra volume game, the penny game, where you make a penny per item. But I think what this call is going to be about, because right now we're just brainstorming, but to really get into the nuts and bolts is when we really narrow down. So let's say we're helping Angela build out a camping strategy. It's probably like how to use spreadsheets properly and open up these tabs a certain way in this order to analyze these types of deals. What brands have these kinds of cycles in there when their seasons end and when their seasons start? Like around November, Adidas liquidates all of their inventory. So if you're an Adidas flipper, do you wait till the very end of November when all the pairs are $5 a pair to buy, and then wait until the market recovers and sell all of them April through November again when everybody else has liquidated all their inventory? It actually depends. It's really nuanced. If you're in the vintage game, it's not as volatile. The modern game is more volatile. Vintage is flatter because there's so little supply. But Ben can't buy 100 of the same thing. I haven't sourced in rag shops before. I know it's brutally hard work. Yeah, I would talk to Mark in the group because he runs the photo call and he sources twice a week at the rag shops or the rag houses, and that seems intense to me. Because essentially the stuff that I look through is already gone through Goodwill, and Goodwill takes out all of the stuff that's considered rags. All of the vintage is already sorted out before I get to it. Hannah sourced in a rag shop. She only doubled their money.
I've been asking all these like mom and pop or church resale shops. I need to get a card printed up, but I've just been telling them, hey, give me your stuff that's too stained or torn to sell. And
Yeah.
they're kind of like, really? I'm like, yeah, just let me, I've got a few that I can just drive in 5 minutes from here. And so I'm just like, call me anytime. I'll come get them. And I'm probably half the time I'll just throw them in my garbage can. But, you know, I mean, to me, it seems like a pretty low risk way to hit on some vintage every now and then.
Yeah, those mom and pop shops, they really need convenience. They don't have enough staff. I saw a pair of Brooks at a mom and pop shop, and they were asking $100 for a pair of Brooks, right? And then I looked at them and I'm like, you realize one of the shoes is a size 12 and a half and one is a 12. Like it was a mismatched pair. And they're like, okay, how about 5? It went from $100 to $5. So
But they'll
they
throw
don't
away
have-
like a torn Nirvana tee because it's like, oh, no one's gonna buy this with a hole in it.
That's right. That's exactly what happened. No one's gonna buy it because it's mismatched. But everyone's foot is, my right foot's like a third of an inch or maybe half an inch bigger than my left. I think that's normal. But yeah, now I'm thinking about the nuance, because even talking about camper, road warrior versus bin shopper, those are 3 different kinds of job ads that you would write. Different personality for someone that's at home camping, looking for deals, versus a warrior at the bins. So different. Do you like shopping with a gun? Do you like shopping with a knife? Or do you like shopping with a sniper rifle? Those are totally different personalities. But I think that if I were gonna pick it's so hard to say, because if you shop at the bins for years or the flea market, I feel like you know everything. You know so much about so many different niches. But then also I feel like if you are a camper, you look through so many deals. So
Camping seems more rhythmic. Like you got to learn the rhythms of seasons and fashion, whereas going out digging in Goodwill bins, it's just reactive.
it just you just go, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Because when my wife and I tried that, she's a camper. And it works. Look for something specific and just look everywhere. You'll find it. I'm none of these. I'm too lazy to be any of these 3 things. I think I would be most interested in being a road warrior myself. I just have to figure out the traffic patterns. Can't be on the road all day, sitting in traffic, not going anywhere. I also hate waiting in line. That's something that campers don't have to do. Wait in line.
I want to dig through 50,000 pounds of shirts. That sounds fun to me.
Man, that is a trip. Yesterday he was showing me, I guess he's friends with somebody at swap.com, and swap.com, they list 1 to 5,000 items a day in their eBay store. And he's like, help me build swap.com. You and tech, help me build that. And then we were looking at it. So the machine that swap.com uses to take their photographs for eBay costs $80,000. It's this crazy flat lay machine. When you put the item on it, and it automatically syncs the right background to neutralize the picture. But if you look at swap.com's pictures, they're not that good. Like, and there's only 2 pictures. So $80,000 for that crazy ass machine that takes perfect photos for you. And then they have this sophisticated software where the item comes in and this person clicks all these buttons and it makes the listing. But they're below standard on eBay. They're below standard. They have their sell-through rates, like they sell 1 item per 1,000 a day. That's a
And
really
then tech just throws it on the floor.
those are on the floor, but they have 10% returns. That's horrible. 10% returns. So tech has 1.4% returns. It's very different. So so I was like, no way, no thanks. I don't want to create that store. That seems like such a headache. Hundreds of employees and losing money every month. No. We just want, are you a buyer? I wish my website was, are you a buyer or a seller? Buyer? Okay, cool. Which one do you want to be? Camper, road warrior, or bins? Okay, cool. Go into this room. Angela will train you how to be a camper. And then 2 weeks later, they're delivering awesome stuff to her. That would be really cool. It's sort of like vocational training. She needs to help me make the master's program for a camper. It's just as hard. Like people go to school for 2 years full time to learn a trade. Why not that for camping? What websites do you look at? What are the seasonality? Because the guy that I'm buying the vintage from, he works for 47, the sports apparel brand. And when they sell the TJ Maxx, it's like 7% of retail is what they get from TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx gets a 93% discount. Like, that's a lot. So, I'm like, just sign me up. I'll pay more than that. But TJ Maxx will buy all of it. I don't know. It's interesting looking at these different resale models and then the fashion, like the production and selling it for $500 all the way down to selling it for 2 cents at the very end. Well, before we leave, maybe everybody put in the chat, what do you want to be? Because you got to master first. Camper, road warrior, or bin shopper? What do you guys think? Road warrior all day for Chad. A lot of road warriors. Let's see. While you have your job, camper. Camper with help. Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. I think the camper helps you populate the spreadsheet. That's the virtual assistant help, because you could pay somebody $2.50 an hour to do that all day. Look for your specific thing. I remember there's a kid on Instagram named Zach, and he would teach you how to do it. Maybe he'd be like, give me your zip code and I'll find a deal in your area. So then you'd give him a zip code, he'd look on Craigslist and find a deal, and he'd be like, okay, give me my money, and now you do it. And that was like a good training. Combo of bin shopper and road warrior. Camper. I think camper is the most upside. Let's see. Yeah. The camper is the most upside because they can buy more than one. That's really the secret to that camping. The low margin, low competition, high sell-through rate. That's, I think, in my opinion, that's the reseller dream. The low margin, low competition, high volume. Nobody wants to sell it because the profit's really low, but it sells fast. That's what I would do all day in the camper model. In the bins model, I would pick maybe Ashley knows in the chat, like how many $50 items could Ashley find on the road every day, full time? $30, I know you could get a lot, but 50, I don't know. Let's see. All right. I'm out of ideas. Tomorrow, let's think about, Ashley's asking bins or, I guess whichever. Could you find 200 items in a week that are $30 profit? I'm sorry, is that right? 70 items a week at $30 profit or more. All right.
How
we're gonna
much?
have a
How much?
little bit- go ahead.
Real quick, how much do you consider the emotional, in like totality, right? Like I can do this and it's the best, but for my lifestyle, and I come home and like my wife's ticked off at me, and so like some of that needs to come into factor too, though, right? Like as far as what's best.
Okay, I think I know what's best for emotional stability. How you make your spouse happy is they know how much you make. It doesn't have to be a lot, but like, actually, I think my wife would definitely love me less if I made less than 100K. Like, it's hard to love someone here if you don't make 100 grand because you can't afford anything. Like, it's really hard because
Okay,
like,
that's where we separate. that's where
but if we live somewhere else, it would be a little bit lower than that. It'd probably be like 70. Because then I don't want her to ask me, what do you do all day? Right? So you got to have a threat. But once you make, I don't know, I think once you make like 150, you can dictate your schedule. And as long as you're consistent, the other person will not hate you. It's when you say you're going to be home at 7 and you don't come home till 10, or you're supposed to go out with somebody and you miss it because you don't. Like my wife has a zero tolerance policy for that. She's like, if you say you're going to be somewhere, then just be there. It's your job to get your work done before you say you're going to be somewhere. That's what we're all adults. I can get my work done and be there. You can get your work done and be there. So if you work the night shift, like there's a couple in the group that they both resell and they work a swing shift. So like one person takes care of the kid and then they switch the kid in the parking lot. And one person goes to work for the second shift and the other person goes home and takes care of the kid. They don't have childcare. That's like both people synced up and they don't see each other during that. So they only see each other a little bit each day, but I think it's fine because they're on the same page. So like, it just pisses off your significant other when you're on a different page. You can only say you're going to do something and not do it so many times before they hate you.
Well, I think that's why the camping, I mean, yeah, like you said, like the camping model, I've only been doing like online arbitrage camping for like 2 weeks and my wife already hates it. Yeah. I'm like, last night I was like up at 12 waiting for this online auction to finish.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, if you don't turn off your screen.
I know. It's a weird, it's like it can be very annoying. The phone is very annoying in the relationship. If everyone didn't have it, it would be, that's why like I don't recommend Poshmark, because you have to share or manage a bot. It just takes too much time. You got to interrupt your family time to do that. On eBay, you can just list it and be done. You can ship the next day. So yeah, I think for the mental health part, when you are in your element, that's when your significant other is most attracted to you, almost always. So if you're really, really good, then you can control your own schedule. Very rarely is it like, oh, I'm really good at my job, but I don't know when I have to go in. I guess if you're like a surgeon or something, then you're always on call. But if you're always on call, usually your relationship is doomed. That's not a good, it's not healthy. Or if you always work holidays, weekends, that's not healthy either. So, no, it's interesting looking at the balance. But yeah, I think if your family life is not in order, usually you can't excel in business unless you just ignore it. It's like the reselling and business is a rubber ball. If you drop it, you can recover, but your relationships are a glass ball and they don't recover. Like if you really hurt somebody, you're screwed. So eBay will forgive you. If you list for 7 straight days, it will turn back on. That's how, that's why my reseller nightmare is going to be me coming to somebody's store. As soon as I get there, we're going to list 70 items together. 10 will go live. We'll schedule out 10 listings for the next 6 days. Then we'll go through every single item in their store, fix the title, photos, item specifics, pricing. That's it. Reseller Nightmare is just go there, list for the entire listings for the week first, so you can get that part of it out of the way, and then fix the entire inventory system.
Yeah, Chris, when you were asking, like, if I came for a week, like, what would you have me do? And I was going to say, like, the first thing I would have you do, which I guess you wouldn't even have to be here to do it, but I would have you go into my eBay, set up all of my business policies, set
Yep.
up all of my templates, like, set up my eBay store so it just like runs 100 times smoother than it does right now.
And the first part of that would just be figuring out what you sell, what are the best practices in that category. If I sold handbags, I would have a really cool setup with the, I'll show you how I would do it.
Sorry for extending the call, y'all.
It's all right. Let's see. Because if I was gonna sell handbags, I would do it like this one. I love this store. This is Gabby's Bags. I don't know if this is a model or this is Gabby, but this is so good. As a buyer, right? You can see exactly how to style it. 111,000 items sold. This is a massive store. Just the staging is on point. People always say, "Oh, I can't sell items because there's." You don't need white background. This is better than white background because you can see exactly how to style it and the size. The only thing that I guess is a bit deceiving is I don't know how tall Gabby is. I don't know if it says that in the listing. Yeah, 5'2". Okay, so you do know. She's 5'2". But I mean, it's amazing. What is a good shopping experience. So if I was a handbag seller, I would just copy Gabby because this is awesome. You can see the size. You can see that the titles are all optimized. Pictures are great. She's got all the discounts. Certain items require free shipping, free returns. Some don't. She knows the difference, right? On this type of an item, this is a probably very competitive item. So you can see it hasn't sold yet. So maybe she's pulling out all the tricks to try to get it to sell. But you can also cheat and you can look at best match to see what sells the best. So this 1,119 sold. This is just like my other friend's listing. Let's look at this one. Actually, but I just think this is an excellent experience. It's got, look at the item specifics. It's crazy. That's a lot, right? How optimized is this listing? Very, very, very optimized. So, but it's only bags. It's literally branded Gabby's Bags. Also, to give you guys an idea, Gabby's Bags is on 16 different platforms. They cross list on 16 platforms because they have like 100 of every style. So yeah, you don't need it. Like, what do you think? White background or this? All these are better than white background. You can see what it looks like. But, right, we have the exact same store with my friend. All white background. Doesn't matter. Actually, Gabby's Bags outperforms my friend. This looks fine too. I just like the model better. Personally. This is okay. It's not like these are bad pictures. Also, you don't need Gabby for this picture, which is easier. So I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't look very good holding a bag in a picture.
Right?
I don't think people would buy my bags.
That's what I mean. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a model or do you think it's her? I don't know. It seems like it'd be.
I think it's got to be her. I mean, like, who are you hiring? Although I don't know. I guess they sound like they're really freaking huge, so maybe they can just hire a model to come in one day a week and take 1,000 photos.
That's true. It's always her though. It's always the same lady.
Well, yeah, I guess that would be telling, right? Because I don't think any model would like, I feel like there's really high turnover with models. So if it's been the same person for like more than 6 months, it's probably her.
Yeah. I find that store very, very optimized. That's the and I guess also one more thought of the camper before we go. If the camper is always browsing the same websites, I think it's pretty safe to say that the camper would know what to do and they could build a bot. They want to do that, check out when certain things come out. But the camper always browsing the same websites, the road warrior going through the same route, and the bins always going to the same location. Those are all hacks. Start figuring out what to do. Yeah, Stephanie, right? I drove myself crazy with white pictures too. Now I know it officially does not matter. And no one posts on Instagram really. I changed the white pictures and my sales exploded. Like, not really. That's not really it's just that people think that white pictures are retail standard. And Gabby does have both white background and model.
Yeah, see, like looking at stores like this, I always think that like, yeah, my photos are pretty decent. They're pretty good. And then I look at stores like this and I'm like, oh man, I'm shit.
I know, right? There's people that go all out on everything. All right, everyone.